Currently, me and my wife moved to Delaware, southern Delaware. We were originally living in DC for many years. And, so far, neither of us have had any issues. We're healthy. And, yeah, just been stay home as much as possible, go out when we need to. But other than that, we're good. Music. Well, I listen to most of the stuff I grew up with, which is mainly like 70s hard rock, early 80s heavy metal stuff, early punk, early new wave from the 80s, classical music. That's pretty much what I listen to the most. Not too much new music, although there's some things I do hear that, very good, mainly by older bands. But just mainly the stuff like I said, that I grew up with, early, 70s hard rock and psychedelic music and early 80s metal. Get back to your other question. New hobbies during this pandemic. No hobbies. Just playing guitar at home and watch a lot of movies and stuff like that. A lot of movies from 50s and old movies from the 60s, a lot of like Alfred Hitchcock and old murder mysteries and horror and stuff like that. Shadows came about was actually wasn't planned how the band came about. Originally, I was just reconnecting with my one of my longest friends and best friends, Henny Petrosky, who was the original guitarist with me in Gorephobia. And it was just kind of like us just kind of reconnected and said, oh, let's get together and, try to make some music together. It wasn't anything serious at the time. And then we were listening to some tapes that we did maybe like 20 years ago with Jake, the vocalist of Shadows. And we were like, wow, this is really good. And so we contacted him and said, hey, you want to, record some songs with us or whatever. And he was on board. And then we went to Ron Street Studios, which is another close friend of ours, Lance Walter, who owns a studio. And, we just set up some recording time. We started recording. And then I asked Lance, like, hey, maybe you could do some stuff on here or play some drums or, because Lance plays every instrument. And and then it just wound up, we recorded an EP and we just kind of felt that we had like a real good thing going, the four of us. And eventually Lance came on board and eventually joined the band. So right now we're, what do you call it again? Recording a full-length record. We already recorded our EP earlier this year, and we're recording a full-length, which we're about halfway through the recording process now. So hopefully we'll have everything finished up by the end of January. And we've signed with Agonia Records out of Poland. So we're real excited to be working with Agonia. And Shadows is not death metal. We're definitely a metal band. It's I would guess it's kind of like dark heavy metal and experimental and kind of, it's got some new wave influences and things like that, and more early kind of metal influences. I mean, it's just kind of a melting pot of where the four of us come from, I think, and there's a lot of those different influences in there. But it's something completely different than anybody's ever heard me do before. And I'm extremely excited about it. The music's very personal to me and to the rest of us. And, it's from a genuine place, because there was no real kind of plan on how it was going to sound. It just came naturally, so just like back in the day, in the 80s when we were, doing death metal, and, nobody was there was many bands doing the kind of style what we were doing, but it was genuine. It wasn't, it wasn't like, oh, we're going to be a part of this or whatever. We were just trying to speak our own voice. We had our own vision, and that's what we're doing with Shadows, and there's a lot of diversity to the music. Super heavy stuff, super dark stuff, mellow kind of stuff. That's very dark. I mean, the theme of the band is the darkness is definitely there, but there's a lot of different musical avenues that we take, and so people will see that once the music is released, or early next year, which was around the corner right now as I'm doing this interview. The EP will come out, and then later in the year, the full length will come out.
This video is sponsored by Brookside Smoke and Grill. Very good pit barrel Pinoy style cooking, all smoked and homemade. Book your orders now. Follow and message us on Facebook.
Sometimes a song's done. I could write a song in 30 minutes, and it's just like, there it is. The whole thing is done. Some things take longer. Some things you may have a couple of riffs here and there, and you go back to it months later, or somebody else writes a riff, and you're like, oh, that'll fit in with this, So, I don't overthink things like I did 30 years ago when you're writing music, where you're just kind of like, trying to perfect everything or whatever. I don't think that way anymore. It's just kind of like, okay, song's done. I don't overthink things too much anymore. If it feels right, then you go with it. Well, Emulation, Bob writes the music. I have contributed some ideas and stuff like that. So, he's been doing things by himself for a long time. So, but if I have some ideas, I'll send him some riffs and stuff, and he'll fit it in. If he whatever he's working on, if it fits in, what he's working on. A lot of stuff is still sitting there that may make it till the next Immolation record, because we have stuff that I've written that are just kind of. It's got like the drum machine and not finished yet. So, but we're, that it's a little bit different process. And then, in Emulation, Ross writes the majority of the lyrics, and Bob writes lyrics too. And and Steve will do his, Bob will have like a template of how the drums, for when he writes a song, he'll have like a template of the drums. And then Steve will bring in his ideas, and make the song even better, so so we're kind of early in the collaboration thing with Immo. That's still in the works, so Incantation was when we did the Vanquish and Vengeance record, was the first record that I was on and wrote music for. A lot of that record was basically a collaboration between me, John, and Chuck, and that was like a really smooth, easy process writing that record, because one song came out after another. It was just, one of those times where everybody was just kind of on the same page, and so I would have some riffs and stuff like that. Some songs maybe I had more, like Invoked Infinity, the first song off of Vanquish, most of that's mine, but then like John had like some crazy riff idea, and I remember at first I was like, well, that's not gonna work, and then it wound up working, and so there's songs like that where it's like most of my stuff, or then there's songs that we just all kind of wrote together, or John had most of it written, and I might add a riff, or Chuck added a riff, or I think there's a song on that record too from Hollowed Sands, which is written. It's just me and Chuck, the music on that one. But that was like, very real band effort. And of course, you know, Kyle brought to the drums and arrangements and things like that too. So yeah, that was like, that record's very much a you know, band collaboration, you know. The next record we did, Dirges of Elysium, that was written, the songs I wrote for that were written separately because, you know, there were some issues in the band at that time and we weren't really much speaking with each other. And so I a couple of those songs I just wrote, like, I think the first two songs on the record, Debauchery, and I don't remember what the second song is called, but those are basically all my stuff. And the last song, most of that's my music, Dirges. But you know, that record was a little different. That was kind of written separately. But when we did Vanquish, it was very much a band effort. But you know, I got a lot of good memories of especially the Vanquish record. That was really cool. You know, Gorephobia, for most, you know, mainly it was always me writing all the music, Chris Gamble writing all the lyrics and, you know, his concepts and things like that he would come up with. So basically, it was kind of the way we would write songs. Like, I know some bands, like, they'll write the music and then they write the lyrics later. But for me and Chris, like, I would have songs. Chris would just write lyrics, you know, because his lyrics were kind of like stories, you know. And he would, you know, just say, oh, you know, he would have like some song he wrote for lyrics, and he would say that will fit in with, you know, what you're doing for this song or whatever, or the vibe of the song or whatnot. But when we got back together, and we did the Mortal Repulsion record, I'd say most of the music is written by me on that, but Chris contributed quite a bit on riffs and stuff like that. Like, I can't even think of some of the song titles, but yeah, he, like, the more like primitive stuff, Chris would, you know, he had a lot of cool ideas. The one song escapes me. I think it's like the third or fourth song on the record, right after the instrumental on Mortal Repulsion. Chris wrote a lot of the music for that. And Jim Rowe would kind of like hum riffs to me, and you know, at the time he didn't play guitar. Now he plays guitar and he writes songs. But yeah, Jimmy, for the most part, Jimmy arranged the record with me. And Apocalyptic Necromancy was kind of the same thing, you know. Like, I think most of the music I did on that. And then Chris, there's certain songs, like, I think it's The Attractor, that's like mainly Chris's stuff. And also we had VJS join the band, and he wrote the last song on the record, all the music, you know. So, but for the most part, Gorephobia has always been me with the music, and Chris with always the lyrics. And but like I said, until years later we got back together. The early days, it was always me doing all the music, and Chris started contributing, which I thought brought a lot of more diversity to the band, you know, because Chris's stuff is more like kind of, I don't know, you know, even kind of like Motorhead-ish kind of vibe, or early kind of, you know, like Sodom kind of stuff, which is, you know, it's where we come from, but brought a lot of that element into the music, which was really cool. Some people may not know, but you know, I've been friends with Bob and Ross for like 32 years. We all kind of, in the early death metal scene, we're all friends and started out together when there was only, you know, like a handful of us. So we've been friends, you know, super close friends for many, many years. You know, it's family. It's very much a family. You know, they're brothers to me, you know. So basically it was just a conversation on the phone one day, and Ross asked me, you know, if I'd be into joining the band. And of course, you know, it was a no-brainer for me, because playing a band with, you know, my best buds, and also I've always been a fan of the band since day one, you know. So it was, you know, it was a no-brainer for me to join the band with Bob and Ross, and Steve's just fucking phenomenal. One of the best drummers, I think, on the planet for the kind of music that we do. And Steve's an awesome person, and he's a brother as well. And yeah, so yeah, that was just a kind of a no-brainer. But yeah, they asked me. It was fantastic. Amazing people. Both the shows that we did were fantastic. You know, really great memories there. And the promoters, just great people. All the fans, meeting all the fans there. Yeah, man, I look forward to coming back eventually. Drink alcohol. I quit drinking 18 years ago, almost 19 years now. I love coffee. I like good coffee, like dark coffee, strong coffee. I like Panamanian coffee, Colombian coffee, Italian coffee. I like good stuff. I don't like cheap stuff. I like the real strong, dark, coffee. And tea, I like all kinds of tea, you know, green tea, you know, all kinds of cool stuff, you know, Earl Grey and, you know, a lot of diverse stuff. But yeah, I like all that kind of stuff. ESP guitars. I'm endorsed with the company. Me and Bob both use ESP. And as far as I'm concerned, they're the best guitars on the planet. Without a doubt, you know, they do it. They do it. You know, they do what I, you know, whatever I'm trying to convey. They're able to do for me. You know, the instrument. They're made, you know, the way I like it, like a guitar. And they make a lot of diverse instruments too. You know, it's not just like the super shreddy guitar. There's kind of like the classic type of cuts that they use. But for the most part, I use ESP V-shaped guitars live with Immolation. At home in the studio, I use the V's too, recording, but I use like a ESP Eclipse. I have a Horizon. I have an old Maverick that I use. So those are the guitars that I use. I have I have other guitars, different companies as well that I have, but ESPs, you know, I'm a dedicated ESP player, and I don't see myself playing any other guitar. And as far as amps go, live, me and Bob use PV XXX heads. But currently I've been using a EVH that I've been recording with. I have an EVH 5153. So it's the EVH head with Marshall cabinets or EVH cabs, which I have. I love them both. Let's see here. As far as like strings, we use Labella strings. We use Dunlop picks. Pickups, we use Fishman pickups. Me and Bob are also endorsed with Fishman. And as far as I'm concerned, they're the best pickups too. I mean, and I came across them by mistake because ESP had sent me guitars to use in Europe so I could keep over there. It was the Millie Signature V's. So I remember I got the guitars and I was in Germany. I think it was the first show, and you know, I plugged in the guitar during sound check, and it was just immediately like I could hear the tonality of these pickups. And it was actually like the comparison to my guitar at Bob's at the time, because Bob had EMGs in his, and we were both like, huh, this is wow, this sounds amazing. And the thing about the Fishmans that we use the Fishman Fluence, modern Fluence pickups. And the thing about them is they're very diverse. There's so much clarity to them. It's not just like, you know, a hot-rodded kind of one-dimensional sound of an EMG. And I don't mean to talk, I'm not trying to talk badly about EMG, but I used them for many years, but they're kind of, you can't get like really good clean sounds out of them. There's kind of like a fuzziness to them that doesn't sound kind of real so much. And I think the Fishmans have more of a passive kind of diversity to them with the power of an active. And they're also multi-voicing pickups where you can get like a passive tone or a more active tone out of them. They make a lot of other different type of pickups. They have like the Fishman Classics, which is more of like a classic kind of PAF humbucker tone. But, you know, especially for what I do, you know, playing, you know, in bands like Immolation or doing Shadows. Shadows is more on the rock side of things and kind of more diverse. So I need a pickup that can kind of do all that. That can be super aggressive, and also super clean, or kind of, you know, more of a dirty vintage kind of PAF kind of sound or whatever. So yeah, they do it for me. So that's what I use. So thank you for the interview. As far as all the fans, you know, we hope to see you guys, you know, hopefully the end of 2021, that's the plan. And hopefully everything goes well with the vaccine, and, you know, hopefully things can start getting back to normal and we can get back out on the road. Really miss playing live. I miss seeing the fans and, you know, all the awesome people that you meet throughout the world on tour. And, you know, I miss my brothers in Emulation playing live. So yeah, so the plan is, I know right now we have, I think the first thing that we have in stores, we're playing Psycho Vegas, Las Vegas, and I think that's in August of 2021, and we're actually playing the same day as Merciful Fate. So, you know, that's like a big deal for me because Merciful Fate is one of my all-time favorite bands, huge influence on me, as well as the other guys in the band, and you know, so that's going to be really cool. And I know there's quite a few bands playing out, you know, friends of ours and stuff, so it'd be cool to just see everybody and hang out. So I hope that all goes well and that comes together. And then, you know, we do have some other stuff in the works, but I don't want to put anything out in public yet till we know for sure. So far that's it that we have that's confirmed. Shadows, like I said, my other product, Shadows, if you kind of, you know, you're not just you kind of have a diverse taste in heavy music, then I think you should check it out, what we're doing in Shadows. We have the EP coming out, like I said, early 2021, and the full length will come out later in the year with Agonia Records. And also want to go out and play live with Shadows too. So, you know, that's another thing, just to, you know, keep a lookout for. And yeah, so thank you for the interview. I hope to see you guys all soon. Cheers.